Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my thoughts on Scream 2. So I am going to just talk mainly about all of my likes and dislikes or small nitpicks that I might have about this one. And first and foremost, I want to talk about the opening. So one nitpick that I have with the opening is just the death of Omar Epps. I thought that it was very unlikely for him to be able to get stabbed through that stall door. I don't know. It's just a small thing, but I have always been bothered by that, how they knew exactly where to do that and all of that stuff. But then the opening as a whole with Jada Pinkett Smith, I think that it is very effective. It's a good opening for sure. However, it's not one that I love quite as much as some of the other ones that we get in this franchise. I think that it's pretty unlikely to me that nobody that was in that cinema would think that maybe anything was wrong and they wouldn't try to get up and maybe say something to one of the theater workers, if nothing else, if they didn't want to actually go up and try to help her for fear that it was just a publicity stunt or something. I find that unlikely overall. But I do just have to say, I would be so mad if my theater, like all the people in it, were acting the same way that all these people are going to see Stab. I have been in maybe just a couple different, theater experiences that were a little bit disruptive, and it wasn't even anywhere near what is going on in this one, but I would definitely have been a Karen and have talked to the theater workers to want to try to calm people down because that is just insane. I would be so mad if I was going to watch a movie and people were acting like that, especially a horror movie because I am very serious about my horror movies. But I do think that it is still a pretty effective opening scene. It's just a little bit unbelievable at the end of the day. But I do want to move into some things that I like. I really think that it is funny that Sydney is just absolutely ready when she gets any prank calls, and she's going to tell them all about, how they can be prosecuted if they are doing that kind of thing. I just think it's a really funny part in the movie. Um, as far as the friend group goes in this film, I really like it. I think that Hallie is a great roommate for her, a great presence just to be in her life. Having lost Tatum and stuff, she really needs that. And I think that Hallie is very nurturing to her, so that's nice that she has her in this one. And I love that Randy is back in this one. He just looks a little bit more cool and just a little more fashionable and stuff. I don't know, maybe it's that he lost his virginity to creepy Karen. That's the only thing I can attribute it to. But I also really like Derek. I think that she has a much better, significant other in this one. And I know that he is still someone that she obviously suspects after everything with Billy in the first film, but he is just so much better and nicer of a character. And I really wish that it would have gone a little bit differently for her and him as well. But I really like Mickey in this one. I think that Timothy Olyphant is just an awesome actor, so I really like to see him in this. He is very similar to Randy. He's obviously got a passion for cinema, and I just really like seeing that dynamic that they have. And just the whole scene that they get to have in their film class, I think is awesome. I never got to be in any classes like that, whether it be high school or college. I didn't go to college at all. But I just kind of like living vicariously through them and seeing that kind of class take place. But moving on to another part that I really like in this movie, and that would be Cece Cooper's death scene and just like the ghost face call that she has. I feel like that one is such a good and underrated ghost face call that people don't talk about nearly as much. But I've always liked that one. I think that it is really creepy with her being alone in that giant sorority house. And, everybody else is out partying. So if she's, in danger, it's going to be harder for people to realize and get to her. But there's just something about that one I really like. And I like the whole chase up the stairs part and her inevitable fall off the roof. I think is really scary as well. But moving on to some other stuff, I think that the sorority sisters of Hallie's are just hilarious. I like their inclusion. They're really dumb and stuff, but it's just another cool comedic aspect of the film. And I have to mention, I like the introduction of Stab into this franchise. I know that that's something that not everyone likes about the Scream films, but I love how meta it is, and having the Stab films be a part of these is just so much fun. I really love the callback that we have to the first film where Sydney, Dewey, and Tatum were all talking about, if they had made a movie about Sydney's life, who would play her. And Sydney obviously mentions that with her luck, it would probably be Tori Spelling. I just love that they actually got her to do this. And specifically, when Tori Spelling is being spoken to by the newscaster or whoever it is that she is being interviewed by, I think it is just so crazy that she actually gives away all of the important plot details to the movie in that. It just makes me think of, the actors and actresses that are in Stranger Things and other really big films and movies, how people are trying to get them to tell them things about the plot and they don't do anything about that. But I guess Tori Spelling was just totally fine with doing a whole plot dump right there. But yeah, I really do like the whole Stab angle to these movies. I think that it's just very interesting and fun. But now moving on to some things that I have a little bit of an issue with. First off would be that Randy doesn't get to finish his rules sequence in this one, his sequel rules. He gets cut off. That bothers me because I want to know everything that he had, that he was going to impart, of his wisdom as far as sequels go. So that is a small nitpick, but it has always bothered me so much. And then losing Randy is obviously a huge, downfall with this one for me. I think that, I understand their choice, wanting to make it seem like no one is really safe and that it does have stakes. Then again, we don't really lose anybody important until a few more films from now. But I just wish that he could have lived at least toward the end of like Scream 3. Because of the fact that that one is set in Hollywood, I really would have liked to have seen what Randy would have brought to that one, obviously, with his love of movies and stuff. I also just really want to see what he was going to do as far as a career goes once he got out of college. So I think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity to have killed him off this quickly in the franchise and stuff. But I do like the segment where he has his call with Ghostface as well. I think that it's well done. It does bother me that he didn't think about the fact that there could have been someone in that news van, but, it's a smaller nitpick at the end of the day. I do have to say that I absolutely love Dewey and Gale in this one. I think it honestly might be my favorite for the two of them together. I think that they're just at the top of their game when it comes to trying to solve the murders and stuff. I just really like them together in this one. But another part that I want to talk about that I kind of dislike about this one is just the stuff with the play that Sydney is in. It just kind of drags for me, and I do like the part where she is talking to her professor about everything she's going through and him trying to bring out of her that she's a fighter. That part is really good. But I just get a little bit bored seeing the play itself. However, I do love that the set for the play is the final confrontation set. I think that it's a really great one for that specifically. It's just I get a little tired of the play itself. But I also really dislike how Derek got stuck on that set piece from there for so long. I hate all the, you know, partying and stuff for college. Maybe I would feel differently if I had gone or something, but that aspect has always just annoyed me, especially that he just had been there for that long and got stuck in that situation. Um, but now we got to move on to probably my favorite sequence in the whole film, and that would be where we have Hallie and Sydney in the cop car, and they have to climb out over Ghostface. I think that is probably one of the best scenes in the entire franchise, honestly. It's so incredibly tense throughout that whole time, and it's just definitely a high point in the franchise for me. But another part that I do really like and that I think is a really good scene would be Gail's chase with Ghostface. I think that it's pretty interesting to see her going through, I don't even know what it is exactly, but where there's all those weird walls and stuff that they have up, I assume for like the sound for one of the film classes and stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know how to describe it. But I think that that sequence is really good as well. But definitely the scene in the cop car is the best one in the whole film. And now I just mainly want to talk about the final confrontation and like the Ghostface reveal. I think that Mickey was a pretty obvious Ghostface. He's pretty similar to Billy when it comes down to it. He just has this creepy factor to him a little bit. I think it's just how obsessed he is with movies and stuff. But honestly, I totally wanted to see what would have happened for him, like if he would have gotten the trial that he wanted. I mean, I don't think it would have gone quite the way he wanted and stuff, but I want to see that part of the movie, to be honest. That would be cool. But I have never been super big on the Nancy Loomis reveal. Um, I mean, I think it's interesting that no one really knew that that was her, other than Sydney. If she would have seen her, obviously she knew. But just, I don't know. I have issues with a lot of that. Honestly, none of this stuff should have ever even happened because I think that it's honestly crazy that, you know, Billy's dad cheated on her and that made her so upset that she just left both of them. At no point, if my husband ever cheated on me, would I ever leave my son. It wouldn't matter how old he was either, even if he is older like Billy and stuff. No, absolutely not. I think that that's so weird. Um, and, you know, if that was the case, then maybe Billy wouldn't have had all those mommy issues and done everything in the first film. But I think it's really strange. And I also think it's strange that she is trying to avenge him. I mean, I understand, I guess, being just broken up about the fact that her son did pass away in that first film and stuff, but he obviously had done terrible things, and I don't know if it just kind of warped her mind in thinking that like he couldn't have done stuff like that. But all of that has just always been kind of weird to me. So that reveal has never worked super well, and she's just very eccentric in that role. So that has been an issue for me as well with this one. But another thing that I really do like about this one is the inclusion of Cotton Weary in the plot. And, you know, more than just seeing him on a screen like we did in the first film. I loved that he got a chance to really be in this one and be an important part of it. I wish that we would have gotten more of him in like the earlier part of it because we get to see him right at the beginning, basically, and then not really much at all until more like the midway to the end of the film. And I think that he's just an awesome actor. I love Liev Schreiber, so I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of him, but what we do get, I think, is really good. I think that he's just awesome in this one, and we'll definitely have to talk about him more when we get to Scream 3 as well. But overall, I think that this one is a lot of fun, and it does have some really standout segments in it, and I appreciate stuff like that for sure. But I want to know your thoughts on Scream 2 down in the comments. Do you like this one as much as the original, or not quite as much, or do you really dislike this one? And let me know about any of your favorite or least favorite parts of the film as well. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and consider subscribing if you haven't yet for more horror content. I do post 2 new videos each week. You can follow me on Instagram for updates on my channel as well as additional horror content. You can also follow me on Letterboxd to see what I have been watching lately and my brief thoughts on any of those films. If you want either of those, they are linked in my channel description for easy access for you guys. I want to say thank you to everyone who has been supporting me so far. It doesn't go unnoticed. My name is Devin. This is Carpenter Hill. Thanks for watching.